In the headlines, military warns troublemakers on plans to scuttle election. Tragedy struck as 8 family members perish in Kaduna fire. Attorney General of the Federation says President Buhari has never overruled Supreme Court order on Naira redesign. And on the foreign scene, South Africa records first cholera death in over a decade. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. The military high command on Thursday said personnel of security agencies would not hesitate to use strong force against any element that plans to destroy presidential election bill to hold on Saturday. Acting Director, Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau stated this at Defense Headquarters Abuja during a joint press briefing of critical security agencies. Those in attendance include spokesman of the Department of State Services, Peter Afunanya, Public Relations Officers of Nigeria Police Force, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, NAF spokesman, Air Commodore Wap Megida, among others. The spokesman to the Nigeria Police Force, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, disclosed that all security details attached to important personalities and top politicians in the country have been withdrawn. The spokesman of the DSS, Peter Afunanya, said the Secret Service will not back down in clamping down on the political thugs who are hell-bent in making election ground a battlefield rather than allowing the polls to hold peacefully. He disclosed how the personnel of the service recovered dangerous weapons like guns, swords, jackknives, and others from Kano State on Wednesday. 17,401 policemen are deployed to man strategic locations in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, during Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections. FCT Commissioner of Police, Sadiq Abubakar, said this during the command's show of force with other sister security agencies on Thursday. Noel Sampson reports.
The purpose of the show of force exercise is to reassure residents and will-be voters that security operatives are on ground to endure violence-free elections.
The show of force is to show miscreants or those who are planning to disrupt the election process that we are ready. And we are not going to leave any stone unturned until we see that the election is conducted peacefully. We have a total number of about 17,401 officers and men that will participate in the election. And when we are talking of the morale, you can see that. And some of you have also seen when I addressed other officers from the command. This is just a joint task force. We have others from various divisions, from various departments.
The commissioner also reassures FCT residents of the command's determination to provide security coverage during and after elections.
We have divided the Federal Capital Territory into 9 sectors, and that all the suburbs and all those terrains you think that cannot be reached are under these sectors, and we have made arrangements on how to reach all of them. We also have officers from various divisions and area commands who might not come here. All those who are coming here are those who will reinforce what we have already on the ground. We have always given our telephone numbers, and the telephones are always, the numbers are there. You can call 24 hours. That we have been doing even before the election. Even myself, you can reach me at any time. You can reach any of the officers. We have divided the Federal Capital Territory into 9 sectors. And all the sectors are going to be manned by Assistant Commissioners of Police. And that the numbers will be made available. So if you have any query or any explanation or you want to give us any information, the numbers will be there. The Inspector General of Police and of course heads of other security agencies have made a lot of provision, a very convenient and comfortable arrangement for the welfare of our officers. So I think that will not cause any problem.
The police will restrict movement of people except those on essential duties until after the elections. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police, Johnson Babatunde Kokuma, says he has deployed over 27,000 security officers for the coverage of the 2023 election in Lagos State. He stated this at a press conference with journalists in Ikeja, Lagos State. The report.
In order to ensure peace, fair and credible election in Lagos State, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, DIG, Johnson Babatunde Kokuma, says the state is deploying 27,000 security personnel to the state. Stated this Thursday in a security meeting with senior officers in the state, noting that all arrangement has been made to ensure a hectic free process. DIG Kokuma also reminded the officers and men of the police force on the importance of a peaceful, transparent and credible election in line with the provision of the Electoral Act and the Police Commission Act. He, however, employed all police officers to be apolitical and not to turn their arms against the electorate, but to respect the rights of citizens and ensure the vulnerable in the society participate adequately in the exercise.
To let you know that the Inspector General of Police ordered the creation of Electoral Offences Special Investigation Units across board. So it is expected of you to have Electoral Offences Special Investigation, particularly at the State CID. And it is expected of you to send the list of those who constitute the Electoral Offences Special Investigation Team, so that those who run foul of the electoral laws will be investigated by this team, and it is expected that we have returns on a daily basis.
Kokuma further called for synergy between the police and the other security agency, as the police is expected to play a lead role in ensuring peace and orderliness. On his part, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, CP Idowu Owunwa, said officers of the Lagos Command are ready to provide security across the state.
On our own, prepare what we could refer to as a very strong action plan for the general elections. And since yesterday, we already started the process of putting these action plans to effect, with the provision of security for the distribution of sensitive materials, and other pre-elections security actions like upscaling our deployments to cover vulnerable points, flash points, just to make sure that this security space remains stable in a manner that will give confidence to the citizens that indeed the federal government, the state government, governments at all levels, and the police leadership in particular are truly determined to ensure that the upcoming election is conducted under a very peaceful and secure environment.
I know that apart from providing adequate security all through the election period, they also have responsibilities to those classified as vulnerable, the aged, the pregnant women, and people living with disabilities. You have responsibilities to accord them the required assistance. You may have to go extra mile to assist them, to ensure that they participate actively in the electoral process.
DIG Johnson Kokuma assured of adequate security on the air, land and sea during and after the poll.
With less than 24 hours to the presidential and National Assembly elections, the Anambra State Police Command has read the Riot Act to any suspected hoodlum that tries to disrupt Saturday's election. The police commissioner, Echeng, stated this in a press conference at the police command headquarters in Awka, the state capital. The commissioner of police also urged residents of Anambra to come on the election day to exercise their franchise and assured of adequate security.
Those who think that they can disrupt this election, to readvise themselves. If they come out to do anything, the weight of the law will be fully on them. Our advice is that they should stay off because election is going to hold in Anambra State. Deploy unarmed men, law enforcement agents to man the 5,720 polling units across the state. B, to escort and protect all INEC personnel and ad hoc staff on election duty, which we have commenced today. Escort and protect all sensitive and non-sensitive electoral material as may be required by INEC. Provide robust security, confidence building patrols across the community to ensure or reassure the citizenry and encourage voters to come out and exercise our franchise on election day.
Troops of Nigerian military attached to Operation World Punch have apprehended one of the masterminds of the terrorist attack that happened on the Abuja-Kaduna train service on March 28, 2022. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Madami, who revealed this at Defense Headquarters in Abuja on Thursday, also disclosed that the sum of $5,000 as well as other currency were recovered from the suspect. The Madami said the suspect was one of the 3 terrorists apprehended by the troops at Damba community in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State on February 14 during an offensive operation. According to him, the operation also led to the recovery of 2 motorcycles, mobile phones, and some sundry items, adding that troops on fighting patrol neutralized 7 terrorists at Ungwamberni in Kajuru local government area of the state. On a sad note, a fire incident has claimed the lives of 8 family members in Sabongari, Zaria. The fire incident that occurred around 2 a.m. Thursday morning took the family unawares as they were deep asleep. An eyewitness who stays close to the victim's house confirmed the unfortunate incident, adding that the cause of the fire has not yet been determined. Trust TV gathered that everything in the house was completely lost in the fire. The 8 family members have since been buried according to Islamic rites. Efforts to speak to the head of fire service proved abortive as he was not on seat at the time of filing this report. You're still watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. How poor network frustrates Lagos residents. Do stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story. This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that military warns troublemakers on plan to scuttle election. We also heard that tragedy struck as 8 family members perish in Kaduna fire. Moving to other stories, the federal government says it is not in breach of the Supreme Court's order restraining it from enforcing the February 10 deadline for the withdrawal of the old 1,500 and 200 naira notes. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, addressed the issue on Thursday while briefing journalists at State House Abuja. Ahead of Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections, the Minister of Justice pointed out that the present administration had exercised the political will to enhance democratic practice through legislative, political and administrative interventions. Kehinde Amodu reports.
A 7-member panel of the Supreme Court had ordered the suspension of the Naira swap deadlines and directed the continued use of old notes following a request by 3 state governors. However, in a broadcast, the president only restored the validity of the old 200 naira notes, maintaining that the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes had ceased to be valid. The broadcast had raised questions about the powers of the president to partially obey the Supreme Court's injunction. The Attorney General of the Federation is, however, insistent that the president did not breach the Supreme Court's injunction.
The fact remains that this matter is sub judice, as you rightly know. Is being contested before the Supreme Court, and when an order is made, you have multiple options within the context of the rule of law. 1, you are entitled as a matter of right, if the facts and evidence support your position, to apply for setting it aside. The position of the law, legal jurisprudence is clear. Once you are attacking, and then seeking for a setting aside of an existing order of the court, you cannot be said to be operating in breach.
Along this line of argument, some state governors and individuals are being investigated for alleged treasonable utterances over the currency swap. Noting the certain undertones of treason in some of the utterances, the AGF is stressing that investigation cannot be ruled out.
These issues are usually issues that are issues of process. So you cannot rule out the possibility of investigation, but the responsibility of investigation and doing the needful arising from the weight and assessment of the implications of the statements and utterances is the responsibility of security agencies, and I believe they are doing the needful in that respect.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Justice says the Electoral Act 2022, signed by President Buhari in May last year, has laid the groundwork for free, fair and credible elections.
I believe, and certainly so, that you will agree with me that what we had in 1999, what we had in 2003, 2007, 11 and 15 is certainly different from what we have in terms of the quality of our electioneering processes. So we have been evolving, we will keep revolving, and we will keep attaining.
As the elections swoop in, the Attorney General of the Federation is explaining that the rationale behind some of government's recent policies is to enable citizens to assume collective ownership of the electoral system, rather than allowing a few moneybags to take charge. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Poor communication network coupled with Naira's scarcity is taking a toll on businesses in Nigeria's commercial city, Lagos, with residents lamenting hardship the situation is subjecting them to. Abbas Ibrahim reports that the instructions given by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on the use of old Naira notes of 500, 1,000 has not been complied with.
Lagos is vibrant and commercially active, but Naira scarcity and network failures have become sources of frustration for the resident. The residents lament the difficulties and hardship they face daily since the policy was introduced. Sunday Ejwa said cashless transactions are failing when the cash are difficult to get.
I make a transfer up till now, since 11 o'clock up till now, and the transfer, they don't debit me, but the transfer don't go from my phone. But the woman where I want to buy the thing from, didn't receive the alert up till now. I see that till 11 o'clock, look at the time now, almost to 3 minutes to 3.
Also, Riskat Diolu said her children find it difficult to go to school even though she has money in her bank account, rendering her penniless.
Very, very hard. You have money in bank, you cannot collect it. Our children, some of them, we don't have money to give them to go to school. It's very bad. We are suffering.
Austin Peter, a Keke Napep driver, said his business is declining due to the current situation in the country.
I'm a Keke driver, so we carry a passenger. So now the traffic they are doing, no cash.
Abdulaziz Umar, who sells spices, said he used to sell 5 bags of ginger in a day before, but now hardly sells half of a bag.
Before I'm selling up to 5, 2, 3. Now, look what I said inside of 1 bag. Look what is now.
Despite these difficulties, many residents said they will go out and vote on Saturday.
I'm going to vote. From me, I'm ready to go and vote. But okay. I'm begging, make everything change. This Nigeria, as we are going now, very bad.
I have my voter cards. My PVC is my house. And on Saturday, which is 25, I will go out. I want to vote.
For me, I'm not sure because which one your vote no they like Yanakwaja. How you won't take how you will take, when not take, you go there.
Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Nigerians have continued to decry the negative impact of the Naira redesign policy, despite assurances from the presidency that the crisis would be resolved. Though meant to address issues around vote buying, kidnapping for ransom and other economic challenges, the policy has unleashed untold hardship for citizens as access to cash has become a nightmare. Chamunda Beng reports on how Nigerians are faring in the face of the policy.
Since the beginning of the Naira redesign policy, the Apex Bank says about 400 billion Naira worth of the new notes has been injected into the nation. However, this sum has been unable to meet the demands of the country's 200 million plus citizens, who, according to statistics, had over 2 trillion with them in cash. As a result of the scarcity, POS agents now charge 30% more of what they originally charged. For small withdrawals, the agents charged 100 Naira, while large sums were charged at 300 to 500 Naira. Today, POS agents are seen to charge as much as 2,000 Naira for a 10,000 Naira withdrawal. While some believe the charges are fair when considered against the challenges of securing the cash, others feel they are overcharging.
Even in banks, for you to take your money, they charge you. So what's the offense of a POS person? Even if he charges 400,000%, there is just no law and order in monetary systems in this country. And you look at the monetary system and fiscal policy, no coordination at all. Whatever I want to charge, and you want my money, is a process of demand and supply. Why do you want to blame a small man who charges you this thing? Go and blame the central bank. Go and blame the presidency that gave whatever approval to central bank to do what they are doing.
I used which bank precisely? I used the Wema Bank to withdraw from the Wuse market. They were giving for 4,000 naira. And each of those 4,000 naira, they are deducting my money. At the end, me getting 20,000 naira, I know how much they charge from me. So sometimes I don't blame the POS, some of the POS operators, because it's not really easy for them. And they are the one that brings this money closer to the consumers on the streets.
I'm not supporting them, but I believe that they are increasing their own because they bought also the cash. How much is bank giving? There's a time it was 5,000, there's a time it's 10,000 naira. How many people with the POS give.
I won't blame them. It's what they face, they come out to give to people because they go and buy to come and give to people.
With some agents unable to get cash from the banks to meet up with the demand of the people, some agents have been seen going to fueling stations and commercial drivers to get cash.
Many POS now for this our Sky Memorial year, so make them money to do business again. Now we see they borrow them money for our change, where they get our own pit. See they borrow them to get something for their own family.
According to the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, NIBS, POS transactions have increased by 40.69% from 573.72 billion naira in January 2022 to 807.16 billion naira in January 2023. E-payments, on the other hand, rose.
On the foreign scene, South African health authorities on Thursday announced the country's first cholera death in more than a decade. Cholera is not endemic in South Africa, but since early February, the country recorded 5 cases. The first 2 of those were imported from Malawi, which is buckling under its deadliest cholera outbreak in decades. The victim in South Africa is a 24-year-old man from Benoni, a district east of Johannesburg. He had no history of travel outside the country and died in hospital on Sunday, according to a statement from Health Minister Joe Fala's office. Laboratory results later confirmed he had cholera. South Africa last suffered an outbreak of the waterborne disease between 2008 and 2009, when over 12,000 cases were recorded after a huge outbreak in neighboring Zimbabwe. Cholera, which causes diarrhea and vomiting, is contracted from a bacterium that is generally transmitted through contaminated food or water. And finally, in sports, Star Plus Football Club's coach Anista Izuikem said his team's target in the ongoing Federation Cup competition in Enugu State is to qualify for the final match. Izuikem, in an interview on Thursday in Enugu, said the target is good enough to enable them represent the state at the national level of the competition. Describing their next opponents, Ingas FC, as a strong and consistent team in the nationwide League One, he said they have a good record against them in previous FA Cup games. According to the fixtures, winners of the tie between Star Plus and Ingas FC will face giant Brillas FC on March 2nd in the semi-finals. The final match of the competition will hold on March 8th. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.